presented by Southern Ohio Sports Authority and Ohio Health. As always, we want to thank Glow Fiber for providing internet access for tonight's show here in the Southern Ohio Sports Authority studio. And tonight, we have another member of the Haynes Total Healthcare team, Miss Cassie McHenry. How are you, Cassie?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Just to get us started, can you kind of tell us how long you've been with the Haynes Total Healthcare,
Sure.
and kind of how you got started there and things like that?
Yeah, so I have been at Haynes Total Healthcare now for 18 years. I have been a physical therapist since 1998, so a long time.
You're aging yourself now.
Yeah,
Cassie.
I am. I'm a Wheelersburg 1992 graduate, and was very active in sport. That's sort of what led me to physical therapy. I had an injury that led me into that field. So
it seems kind of common, like when you talk to some people that are in that field. A lot of times it is a high school injury that they got really interested in the rehab process and all that, and that kind of led them into something in that field.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so kind of just elaborate for us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what physical therapy is and kind of what you do when a patient comes to see you.
Sure. So physical therapy, I would describe as a movement specialist. Like both of you know, especially as we're getting older, movement is essential for life. So I am helping somebody return to function. So whether that be a loss of function from a disease or an injury or chronic pain or just disability, my job is to help return to function and promote wellness.
Okay.
And then I guess kind of piggybacking off that, Cassie, like, you hear PT, athletic training. Can you kind of break that down, like kind of the differenes between what that would look like?
I hear this a lot actually from parents too, because a lot of times parents are like, well, can just the athletic trainer see my kid? Do I have to bring him to physical therapy? So I would describe, and I don't want to offend any athletic trainers, but like we collaborate. But an athletic trainer, I would describe their job as in the acute phase of care. They're the person on the sideline. They're the one that's acutely there for the injury. They're helping prevent injury that day. They're taping, they're stretching, they're making sure the person's assessed to be ready that day. Where my job is often performed throughout the entire span of recovery. I'll have an athlete be referred to me right after injury, or sometimes even before, like trying to promote them to not get injured. But I also work with athletic trainers. For instance, Amanda down in Piketon will call often and say, okay, what can I work on to help promote what you're doing in rehab? Or I may call and say, hey, this person was really inflamed today. Will you please make sure you tape them this way? So we work together, but yet I would say I am more behind the scenes in that I'm individualizing their treatment plan and I'm working towards getting them on the field.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And what are some of the more common things that you see when working with athletes specifically?
So I would say when an athlete enters Haynes Total Healthcare, they are usually being referred either from an area orthopedic or from the chiropractors downstairs. And I'm usually treating, in the athlete world, what you guys would think of: ACL tears, hamstring strains, labral tears, like all those type of traumatic injuries. And I have the ability to use anything from hands-on massage, joint mobilization, dry needling. I dry needled John the other week, which was very fun, by the way. I heard you were chickening out on that.
I was a little nervous about that. I'm not a big needle fan. And actually, Dr. Green kind of came in and laid the needles down right here, and I was like, we'll scoot those away from me. I'm not a huge needle fan.
But dry needling, ultrasound, cold laser, stretching, strengthening, like all those things are what I'm working on. Brandon often says I'm the soft tissue specialist in the building, so that's primarily my job.
And another thing, Cassie, what would you do to recommend, or what would you recommend for athletes to do to help avoid injury? I mean, obviously if they are injured and they're going to come to you for like kind of the rehab, but what advice would you give to athletes, prior to avoid some of these injuries?
Well, one thing I want to talk about too that like I'm surprised with athletes in today's world is we are seeing now as clinicians conditions that normally I would see in our age group. Like for instance, I've had a kid as young as a junior high that had sciatica from a disc bulge. Like that's something that we would think of in our age group. And I think it's from a lot of us just specializing kids at a very young age.
I was getting ready to jump on that topic.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Like they're playing year round. They're specializing in something from a very young age. So their movement patterns are repetitive and they're just over the top repetitive. They're not getting a break. And so we're seeing conditions that are degenerative in nature and are inflammatory in nature instead of just the trauma. And then in our age group, people are playing more advanced sports at a higher level longer. So we're seeing in pickleball, like I've seen people have blown Achilles tendons and more traumatic injuries in that age group as well. So I would recommend usually 4 things. Like 1, I don't think we stretch enough. Everybody primarily sits most of the day, kids even. So we need to be breaking up postures more so. So stretching, I think, is key. Cross training, you coaches might not like that, but I feel like we should not be making a sport specific choice from such a young age. And we should be expanding our movement patterns. And even if we do pick one sport, we should still be cross training when we're preparing for that sport. And then core. I love when a young man comes in and says, well, I've got a really strong core. I don't need to exercise my core. I can hold a plank for 3 minutes. And then you correct their posture and their technique, and it's not that way at all. So core, if we would strengthen our cores more, we wouldn't have all these repetitive injuries on the rest of our joints. And then you guys might not like this either as a coach, but rest. Like rest. Like these kids never get a rest. Like I look at in our age group, we played soccer when soccer season was. Then we played basketball when basketball season was. These kids are playing soccer in the fall, soccer in the winter, competitive travel soccer in the spring, and then they're already back into soccer for their season. So there's no rest.
It seems like that's almost available for every sport there is anymore.
And soccer like was said, just
in our age, when we grew up, there wasn't those opportunities. So naturally, you just kind of went from one sport to the next sport and the next sport. And like you said, like I've tried to spend a lot of my time as far as coaching, trying to get, I'm constantly going to colleges, watching practices, talking to people. I just want to continue to learn. And one of the things I always hear, and it's from some of the elite Division I coaches, is the specialization may be good for skill development stuff, but body-wise, it's not.
It's not good.
They said, back in the day, kids would just, in the summers, you'd go out, you might play kickball with your friends. Later that day, you're playing flag football. Later, you're on the basketball court.
Right.
And you were working all sorts of muscles and things on your body, where now, if you really want to, you can start specializing at age 6, pick one sport and that's it. So, like you said, it just echoes what I've heard from major elite coaches as well.
And rest.
Yeah.
Even God rested.
Yeah.
We need to offer rest. That's how we heal.
Yeah. So when you started talking about the core exercises, I thought back. My daughter's been a patient of yours in the past.
Dancing is also athletes.
Yeah,
we tend to think of just school, but it's all across the board.
Yep.
Yes.
And, so I was at a couple of her sessions with her and kind of watching what you were doing. And as I'm sitting there watching, I'm watching her go through a lot of different exercises and things. We get out to the truck and she's like, "Ooh, I'm sore, I'm wore out." And I'm like, but it didn't look like you were working that like real hard.
Right.
But it was a lot of core
It's
stuff and a lot of
stabilizing.
those kind of
Yeah.
things that she needed at that time. And then also maybe just talk to us about like her favorite thing was the cupping. So kind of talk to us about that.
Yes, cupping. So cupping is another soft tissue treatment that we do at Haynes, along with the dry needling. But cupping I would describe as a little bit more in the superficial world compared to dry needling. But you're pulling the skin and the fascia up into that cup, and you're allowing blood flow down to the muscles. So athletes, upper extremity athletes, love it. Like I treated a lot of baseball and tennis, and those people really like that upper body work. You see it in swimmers a lot.
That's where I've
Yeah, Michael Phelps made it so
I
popular.
had never really seen like the cupping thing. I remember during the Olympics watching some of the swimming and like, what in the world is back on their shoulders? You know what I mean? Like, are they bruised up? And it was,
But it really relaxes the tissue. Like Cammie loved just when the release happened and it felt good. So that's another treatment that we offer too. So.
And then can you just kind of like, I know we've talked with other members of the Haynes team, and like they were talking like Saturdays that you guys, can you kind of echo again, like Saturdays, what all everybody can do at Haynes? You know what I mean? Like if football Friday nights, you come in Saturday, what you guys offer on Saturdays?
Yeah, so Saturday mornings, the chiropractors are there, and they have the ability to, of course, examine them chiropractically. Dry needling is usually offered, as well as there's massage therapists there on some Saturdays as well. And they then assess, like Brandon again is then the initial assessment to get the patient to where they need to go. You know, we also work really well with the orthopedics. So Cohen's a phone call away or someone like that he can send or then send up to therapy starting at the beginning of the week. So he's the acute care process, in that start on Saturday morning.
Anything else from you?
I don't think so.
Cassie, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners this evening that
Yes,
Haynes?
one more thing. So I'm always asked, who could benefit from physical therapy? And it is absolutely every single person. Like it's something that it spans across all, a baby has physical therapy all the way to a 90-year-old person. So it is about restoring function. So we are there to help you feel better and to perform how you want to perform.
And I've mentioned it before after a few visits out there that that it is just, it's like the whole package. You can kind of get everything at Haynes Total Healthcare. I know, for instance, even my youngest daughter, I can remember she was colicky. And,
Yes.
We did every gripe water. We tried every kind of thing there was, and ran into Brandon, was talking. He's like, bring her out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? And I'm like, here we're talking about a 2-month-old, you know what I mean?
Right.
And here's Brandon doing some things, and it was like, wow. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. So, well, we appreciate you coming in
Thank
tonight
you.
and
Very
sharing
much.
information with
Thank
us.
you.
And we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll probably get some coaches to call in. And again, thank Glow Fiber for providing our internet access, and we'll get some coaches on the line here shortly. If you don't mind, just kind of give us a little recap, kind of like, was it was it one of those things where Huntington got right out of the gate on you, or was it kind of a slow process, or how'd the game go tonight?
First quarter ended 0-0. It was 8-0 at halftime. We had moved the ball a few times and shot ourselves in the foot with penalties or just untimely turnovers. And then second half, come out. They had a nice kick return. Was able to punch it in for a score on that drive, and then. Again, we come out. We went. I think we went 3 and out. Had to punt. They got good field position again. There was a battle of field position for us the whole second half. We just couldn't gain the advantage on field position. And then when we got something going offensively, we'd do something to hurt ourselves.
Yeah, so we were just talking here, Coach, to start the show. Kind of second half of the season, getting a little later in the year. So talk to us just about any of your kids, maybe some of the younger guys, or just other guys in general that have kind of come along as the season's progressed here, and you're kind of happy seeing the strides that they've made.
Well, I tell you what, our young guys have been playing really, really hard. I think all our guys throughout have played hard. The effort's been there for most of the year. We've had some guys really step up. I think Preston Fauber, he's been our quarterback. Today we had kind of musical chairs going on with our rosters as slim as it is. Our freshman running back got injured. And so when he went out, Preston had to move to a running back. That brought Brennan Ison in at quarterback. And we was able to move the ball a little bit there with Brennan. Brennan typically is a slot receiver for us and does a great job in his role. And Preston with his leadership capabilities and just the way he's willing to sacrifice for his team. I can't say enough about his character, and that's something we practice each day is, because with our roster being as small as it is, we have to learn multiple positions.
And I was kind of going to hit on that point, Coach, there. With, like you've mentioned, the roster, you don't have a huge number of kids there on the roster this year. So like you said, one injury can kind of be that domino effect of it's going to make you change, 3 or 4 positions just basically with one kid going down. And obviously it's probably a nice, like a kid like Preston who's been around, a veteran kid who, like you said, you could take him moving from quarterback to tailback to whatever, whatever he needs to do to help the team out.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I told him after the game, I mean, that just shows the character and the type of person he is. And then we got other guys, Gage Wagner this week. Abbott Johnson went out last week with a knee injury. So we asked Gage Wagner this week to play some defensive end. And, he's a big, strong, athletic kid that is quite possibly, I feel like one of the best corners in Southern Ohio. But because of our roster, he's had to play some other positions throughout the year. And this week, we asked him to play some defensive end. Which he wasn't super comfortable with, but he came up and he played hard and had some quality tackles. And the same thing with some of our freshman kids, like Max Montgomery. He's playing linebacker as a freshman. Stepped in, and tonight he was playing both ways early on.
Yeah, just hearing all those guys that you mentioned, Coach, that are just going to show up every Friday night, keep playing hard, do whatever it is you ask them to do, line up where you need them. That's a nice thing to have, and something that you're going to get out of your kids out at Paint Valley. So back to work tomorrow with a big week coming up next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a really good team coming in, I think, with Unioto. Of course, I feel like the team from over the hill tonight that we faced, Coach Beeler does a really good job with them, and congratulate them on the win tonight. But, make no mistakes about it. We want that trophy back.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the call tonight, and like we said, hopefully some of these injuries you mentioned, you get some kids healed up and have a great week of practice, and hopefully come out fighting next Friday.
Well, we'll keep fighting. We'll keep fighting. That's what our kids do here. That's what Bearcats do. Bearcats are going to continue to fight.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your coverage.
Yeah, like Coach Penwell said there, that's when you look at some of these teams across our area, and he obviously made it clear that their roster isn't really large, and when a couple injuries he mentioned, man, that can be costly. When you've got one or two kids that go down on a team that you got 28, 29 kids on your roster. Gosh, it can be the domino effect and having to move everybody around. It can make it very difficult.
Yep, I think you described it perfectly there. Just again as the domino effect. One injury and you're shifting 3, 4, 5 kids around. Guys are playing out of position or somewhere they haven't played a lot. But as he said, they're lining up and they're playing hard, and that's all you can ask of them.
Yeah, and he even, I think Coach mentioned a couple freshmen out there, and right now that could be, it's probably not the season they had hoped for, but in looking at the bright side of things, he is getting some young kids, some quality to play in time, and hopefully that pays off here down the road with kids getting that experience at the varsity level.
Yep, 2-3 years from now, that can be some big experience for them.
Okay, I think we got another coach on the line here, Coach Saum from Amanda. You there, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, we're doing really good.
Good. Tell us a little bit about tonight's matchup and how things went for you.
Everything really just kind of clicked pretty well. We had the Lucas Cubs and Lucas High School.
Where is Lucas, by the way, Coach? I mean, I usually know most of these schools across Ohio, but Lucas, I can't think where are they even located at?
They're really close to Ashland.
Okay.
Way up 71.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So they were actually played in the state championship in 2019. So it's quite a program. So.
Well, give us just a little bit of a rundown, Coach, how things go for you tonight, how things start off, and where'd you go from there?
Sure. First half went pretty well. We were able to score on our first 4 drives and put together a pretty good 2-minute drive there to score with about 40 seconds left. So we went into the halftime 28-0, and then we ended up 35-7. So each team got a score in that second half, and that clock just kind of ran. So just kind of like we wanted.
I know, Coach, I've really been impressed with some of the teams across the Mid-State League this year. I mean, in your opinion, as far as the league as a whole, would you say that this is probably one of one of the stronger years from top to bottom as far as the Mid-State League is concerned?
I think it kind of shows that in some of our non-league records. Making up for Tays, kind of put some weird teams in the middle there. But if you look at it, I know Liberty Union won 3 non-leagues. Circleville won 4. I think 4. Hamilton won 3 non-leagues. So once we get into league play, we're all kind of beating each other up. But I think it's a really strong showing, just kind of how everybody did. And then obviously we only won 1 non-league game, but we played some pretty darn good.
I was gonna say your non-league
teams.
schedule was pretty stout. That's for sure.
Yeah. So far, I think they're about 20-2. So, and one of those losses was to us.
Yeah. So you kind of said you guys had 28 there in the first half tonight, Coach. Any big plays or just kind of sustainable drives where you went all the way down the field, or what was working for you?
Actually, a little bit of both. We did have a couple big pass plays. Our first 2 drives, I believe, were a 50-yard pass and a 20-yard pass. Which is kind of shocking for us. We're usually a run the ball team. We hit 100 yards passing today, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you said that, Coach, I was just kind of be like, that's kind of out of the ordinary for your team this year. It seems like you guys have been pretty much a run dominant team, and boy, you have a night like tonight that can probably put these next opponents on lookout for like, we thought we were going to be able to look at Amanda and let's put 9 men in the box, but tonight sounds like the passing game really kind of stepped up.
Absolutely, yeah. And they did. They loaded the box against us, which is fine. Got us in a couple bad situations that first drive, and I think it was maybe a 3rd and 12. I think we hit for about 50 yards. So that, or actually, it was maybe on 4th down. I can't remember. Sorry, it all blurs together. But yeah, we were able to pass ourselves out of a couple bad situations, and then after that, we really kind of ran however we wanted to. Offensive line was playing really, really good. And running backs were being very patient. That's one thing we've been kind of harping on these guys that haven't been too much experience. They're kind of finally starting to get the groove and really understand the game. So I think we had, I'm looking at stats here, we had seven different people carry the ball, which is always a great thing, and went over 220 yards rushing and 100 yards passing. So that's always a good stat line for us.
Yeah, Coach, I was looking at the. Not to jump ahead, but I was kind of looking at the computer points, I think, heading into this week, and I think you guys were probably sitting there in that, I think maybe in the 8 hole or whatever it was. And like you said, you would look at records, and you see a lot of 6-0s, 5-1s, and then you got this Amanda team sitting there at 2-4 heading into this week, but sitting in the 8 hole, and I think that speaks volumes for your non-league and, the wins that you do have. So, who do you have next? For sure. Who do you have next week, Coach?
Next week we have Logan Elm at Logan Elm. So that's always a big rivalry game around here. They're only, was this week 8? They're 1-7. So it wouldn't be a ton of points there. But either way, that's always a really, really big rivalry for us. Probably our biggest.
Yeah, probably one of those what a lot of coaches would consider trap games. You know what I mean? Like don't look at the record. It's a rivalry game. Throw the records out the window type of game.
Absolutely. And they're getting healthy. I know they were very, very banged up there early on in the season and lost some games big, but I know they beat Liberty Union the week before, and then had a really close battle with Fairfield Union there in week 4, I believe, week 4 or 5. So it's a much improved Logan Elm team. I know that for sure. So anytime Coach Terry Holbert's over there dialing them up, they're going to be at least pretty sound fundamentally.
Yeah, so you just kind of mentioned, Coach, going into week 8 next week. Getting later in the year. Any of your young guys or anything kind of making big steps for you right now, and kind of coming around where you hope they would be at this point in the season?
Yeah, a few. It's kind of by necessity. We've had obviously some very big injuries. I think we've got either 10 or 12 kids out for the season. So that's kind of for a Division 5 team, that really limits you a little bit. I mean, we haven't played a JV game in 3 weeks. So, but the good thing, got nights like tonight, and to be able to get a lot of guys some playing time. So, we have actually a couple freshmen playing that, we usually don't have freshmen playing. So we've got a couple playing, doing a really good job. Got some sophomores coming in and cutting some teeth and earning some things. So, we're liking how a few of them are playing. They're playing sound, and they're adjusting to the speed of the game for sure. That's not anything easy, but they're adjusting to it and starting to play pretty well.
No, and Coach, that sounds like a lot of promising things for you guys. And here we are, like I said, down to 3 games left in the regular season, and seems like you guys are heading in the right direction. And we want to wish you guys nothing but the best of luck here as you guys prepare for Logan Elm next week.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. Hopefully it should be a good one.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yeah, Amanda is obviously one of those teams. Like I said, you look at the record, 2-4 coming into this week, but obviously some of those games in that non-league schedule are really paying off, whether they're paying off with a win, or they're paying off with just the experience of playing those caliber of teams,
Yeah, I have to think that's been helpful for them. I had no idea they've got 12 guys out. But that's kind of the point of the year that we're in. I think we talked to 2 coaches, and both of them going through some tough injuries in the team right now, and that's a good reminder of how important it is, or how nice it is to be healthy. This time of year.
Absolutely. And I think we're on a roll right now. We're on a roll. We got our next coach on the line, Coach Matt Hoops of Unioto. How you doing tonight, Coach?
I'm doing well.
Good. You got that pizza already and sitting at home, or?
Oh no, we switched it up tonight.
Oh,
Switched it up.
okay.
Curveball. Went out to Roosters.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm in the parking lot.
Okay, all right. Well, we won't hold you because I know you're probably starving, so we'll make this one short tonight.
Starving and really thirsty. Yes.
There you go. Hey, give us a little rundown tonight. Both Nick and I were able to be out there for most of the game. It seemed like in the first part of that game, I felt like Zane Trace was kind of like their game plan probably coming in was exactly what we saw. They were keeping the ball on the ground, they were moving the sticks. The clock was running, so give us a little bit of what you guys do to counter that and kind of how you ended up getting on the board and kind of getting the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they had a great game plan. Obviously, other teams have tried to do that before in terms of just like basically playing keep away with the ball. I mean, running the play clock all the way down and really trying to steal and have long possessions and limiting us. But and I thought they did a great job of it. We were able to force a fumble on the second or third play of the game, and then uncharacteristically didn't have a positive play on first down and got behind the chains. And they held us, and then they went on. My gosh, I don't know how long of a drive that was. One of the drives I heard tonight was 21 plays. I don't know if it was their second one or their third one.
Yeah, I think one of them was like 8.5 minutes maybe or something.
Oh, it was just excruciating standing over there watching, not being able to get the ball back. But our defense all night long just really stood the test of time in terms of just bending and not breaking and making key plays when we had to and staying disciplined. And were able to get the ball back to us, and we were finally able to put together a drive there and go up 7-0 after one. And that's the way it went into halftime. A couple things maybe we wish we would have done different to end the second quarter, but we knew coming out we were getting the ball to start the second half, so that's kind of why we were a little conservative. I'm sure yourself and a couple other people I've already heard from have questioned why we didn't go for it on 4th and inches at the 40 or 50. But
good thing you had a headset on because I was hollering at you from about row 25.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know, it was like seriously a fight between how you have the devil on your right shoulder and the angel on your left. Man, that was a serious conversation going on between those two. And eventually I went over and I asked Rhino, I said, what do you want to do? And he's like, you can go for it if you want, but I'm telling you, if you don't get it, they'll probably score. But if you punt it away, they won't. And so that was all I needed to hear. And we punted it because we knew we were getting the ball to start the second half.
Right.
So punted it, ended up getting the ball back where we originally punted it from. But just had a missed assignment there on first down. It was going to be a big play, and we were really trying to get a field goal before halftime. But once that happened, we just, realized, live to fight another day, go in at halftime and get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, and, as I go back and I think about that game, Coach, I think I don't know if others would agree with me or not, but I felt like one of the biggest plays, or not plays, but maybe series is Zane Trace driving. Your defense, like you said, kind of the bend not break defense. Mm-hmm. You end up forcing them into a field goal attempt that hits the upright, no good, and it's just one of those things that if that goes through, they take a 3-0 lead. Who knows what happens from that point on? You know what I mean? But
honestly, when that came off his foot, it looked good, and then at the last second, for whatever reason, it just pushed right and hit the upright. And honestly, I think that allowed us to relax, and I think that allowed them to kind of, I don't want to say took the air out of their sails, but man, kind of devastated them a little bit. And I mean, we did take the ball down the field after that, nice long sustained drive, and we're able to score. But we had to make a heck of a play on 3rd or 4th down to score a touchdown that play, or that drive. So
I think it was.
It was a heck of a game.
Down.
Yep.
And I think the other thing too is it's a rivalry game, and people always say throw the records out the window. Well, you don't have to just throw bad records out the window. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can throw 5-1 and 6-0 out the window too, and it's still going to be just a tight, hard-fought game.
No, you're right. It was one of those games where, honestly, up to this point this year, I don't know if your starters have gotten. I don't know if they've even gotten much time in fourth quarters of games. You know what I mean? So I would think.
Well, they haven't played in one.
Right, and I would think as a staff, that was probably something you guys were probably appreciative of. Is like, those kids had to play 4 quarters tonight.
Yeah, and I think you got to give a lot. I mean, obviously, you got to give all the credit to Zane Trace for that. I mean, our guys haven't played in the fourth quarter. In fact, I don't think Cody Braden's played but one series in the third quarter all season long. And we had to play all four quarters, and that's a credit to Zane Trace and their staff and great game plan. And I felt like they were really physical up front, and they ran the football hard, and they made us earn everything we got offensively. And it was just a really good high school football game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I just sitting there watching that game, I was just incredibly impressed with the toughness of your defense, especially as that game went on. The guys up front, linebackers, I felt like they were their toughness showed tonight throughout that game. And probably if you were going to write the script for tonight, probably not the way you would write it, but probably something that's very good for your guys to fight and battle like they did tonight.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I talked to them about after the game was like, listen, we were challenged tonight in a lot of different ways that we haven't been challenged before tonight. And I was proud of our guys for responding. We talked earlier about getting the opening kickoff to start the second half. Well, we fumbled it,
Yep.
and we give them the ball back on our side of the field. And you know what? Our defense just put their helmets on, tightened their chin straps, and went to work. And, we got the ball back. But,
Absolutely.
and I think a lot of that is, when you have 7 or 8 seniors that start on your defense, and 7 or 8 of those guys have played 2 and 3 years, some of them 4 years, they're just really comfortable over there. And that's a luxury to have for sure.
Hey, Coach, what, here we are heading into week 8. Who you guys got next week, and where's that game at? I should probably know that.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're 2 months into this thing.
Well, the weather's not telling us that it's October. That's
no.
for sure.
And I told you, Jeff, I said, listen, once you get a kid in high school, this stuff goes so fast, and you already know that with Alexis, but try having a kid play high school football and watch it go, man. It just flies by. And
absolutely.
Each year has gone faster and faster. And, we're in week 8 now. We go to Paint Valley, to Southeastern, and then home against Westfall to finish the season. So, 3 tough games, and 2 of them on the road, which we're used to. We only have 4 home games this year, so we'll figure it out. Hopefully get healed up a little bit and go out to Paint Valley and try to win another game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Kind of back to work tomorrow, but again, we've talked already tonight about injuries of just keeping guys healthy at this point as you go forward.
Yeah, it's almost now you're like in a preventative state of just like, each bruise that you get takes another day than longer than another week to heal up, because you just keep stacking them on top of each other. So you're just trying to do the best you can and get to each Friday night as healthy as you can.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate the call tonight. We're gonna let you go in there and get you some roosters and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hopefully this all worked out. I'll walk in there, my pizza will be sitting on the table.
That'd be perfect. That'd be perfect.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep. See you.
Yeah, and like Coach Hoop said, that tonight was I really felt like Zane Trace had a really good game plan. Obviously, if you've paid attention to Trace this year, they're obviously a run dominant team, and they were able to kind of do what they wanted to do until it got to be like 2 scores, and then it kind of took Trace out of that what they typically would want to do.
Yeah, I have to think that first quarter they were probably like, this is exactly what we wanted. They kept Unioto's offense off the field. We're driving down the field just the way that they wanted to, running the ball. Just really pounding the ball down the field. And as I said, I was impressed with Unioto's toughness. I'd say the same thing about Zane Trace.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were just as tough and continued to battle all throughout that game, even as they got a little behind there. So like you said, it was just a great high school football game.
It was. And I mean, like you said, I thought both teams, played a really good game. I think both teams throughout the year, if you look, they've had some big plays. Both teams can have some big play offenses, and really didn't see that tonight. You know what I mean? It was the kind of a traditional, let's tighten up the helmet, and you're going to have to earn points, and that's the type of game it was.
Yep, absolutely.
Next call, we got one coming in from Coach Woodward from Wheelersburg. You there, Coach?
Yes, I am. How are you guys?
Good. How you doing tonight?
We're doing good, doing good.
Good. I think
Just got back. Just got back in.
you guys had Oak Hill Oaks tonight. Is that correct?
We did. Yep.
I see. Final score here, 52-8. Coach, I guess the one thing I wanted to kind of ask right up front is obviously, last week was a big one for you guys. With the Ironton game and the crowd and the preparation and things going on all week, and then obviously this week you're facing a team that only had one win. Is that something coaching wise that you find difficult to kind of keep those kids focused this week, you know what I mean, at the task at hand, especially after a big win, or how do your kids react to that?
Well, it's always tough, working with high school kids, and they hear all the social media. It used to be we were the only voice that they really heard, maybe their parents here and there. But now you have so many people, ways that are feeding them full of information. So you got to really work to navigate through all that. Don't let them get too big ahead, as you mentioned, off a big win, playing opponent. Our kids were physically tired, sore from the Friday night game. Then we turned around and played JV game, and some of our younger guys who have not gone 4 quarters, they're tired, sore from that game too. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we were still kind of rebuilding. You gotta focus on that and recognize that. But again, the mentality of an opponent that hasn't won as many games, trying to keep everybody at a level. So we're all the time as coaches trying to work through that with our players. And it really took till Thursday, and we changed up a couple things in our routine or our schedule that I think was extremely effective. But what we chose to really focus on was the development of our younger guys in backup positions, conditioning, strength. Those were the key focuses throughout the week, and just really getting back to some fundamentals on offense and defense. So, excuse me, our practice was a lot of those things that we really honed in on and focused on, kept it at a high level, intense level, and we want to continue to build that over the next couple weeks, just making sure that younger guys are being developed or backup positions are being developed so that we have the ability to, in a package or in a situation, if someone has to step out, maybe it's an equipment issue, maybe it's an injury, maybe it's, just something, another guy can step right in there and hopefully not miss a beat in terms of at least knowledge base, knowing what they need to do. So this week started that process, and we're going to continue to work through that in the weeks to come as we move through the rest of our opponents and continue to just try to get better here in this back half of our season and as we work through the SOC and towards that number one goal of an SOC championship.
Yeah, we've talked a lot tonight, Coach, just about the time of year it is and things like that of trying to keep guys feeling good and healthy and things. But 52 for you guys tonight. Did you have big plays tonight or just kind of continuous driving the ball down the field? Kind of walk us through some of your scoring.
Well, we did. They tried an onside kick there and gave us the ball at the 50. I think we were 3 plays after that. We were able to get in the end zone offensively. So that was big for us to jump up, quick. Within that, I've got stats. I don't have them right here in front of me, but and then we turn around on the next defensive possession, hold them to a 3 and out, and Elijah Brown gets a blocked punt that he's able to take into the end zone for a touchdown. We then continue to work through the first half of really holding no kill in their own territory, and not giving up a first down there with our first unit guys. And again, trying to work some of those younger guys into positions so that maybe an offensive unit of 11, you have a backup role in 1 or 2 spots, and they're getting the chance to work with some of those guys. And we were able to put together 35 points there in the first half, essentially, first quarter, first half. We did, as we started to sub, get down and was stopped on one possession, and Cooper Heimbach was able to come in and kick a nice 30-something yard field goal, I believe it was.
That's just a chip shot for Cooper, right? 30.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep. And, and it's funny because I was just talking to somebody about an exchange of field goals there that ended up costing the team a game. And we're obviously very blessed to have snapper, holder, kicker that we have, to be able to connect the way those guys have this year. It's been a great weapon. So we finished off there with 38 points in the first half, came out second half and really started to work subs as much as we could. And ultimately Oak Hill was able to hit some plays. They were able to, as we were trying to communicate what we wanted with some of those younger guys who maybe didn't have the full game plan, as we were looking at how we wanted to line up in certain situations, and Oak Hill was able to work themselves down the field and ultimately score and make it a 38-8 ball game. We continued to work those younger guys, and they started really clicking there after the initial, I guess, shock, if you will, of jumping out there and playing against some varsity kids in varsity game situation. And they were able to score a couple more times to make it ultimately 52-8. But I was really happy with the development that we did get this week, but we got to continue to see that grow. And, taking on a Waverly team who just lost this past Thursday to Oak Hill, but it's turned around tonight and won with a big 41-7 victory over Medford. So that'll be what we'll be looking at next week as we prepare for that.
Coach, I want to ask you a kind of a question here about, you mentioned like tonight, especially in the second half, getting some of your younger kids some reps. And like when you get down here we are like week 8, we're getting in the back end of the season. Like how do you approach like kind of are we getting guys enough rest? You know what I mean? Like we don't want guys dinged up. Are we getting them enough rest? But yet, probably when you head into the postseason, you're going to have guys that are ready to play 4 quarters. You know what I mean? So like, how do you balance that out as far as the games right now going on?
Well, I'll be honest. Back in 2016, I feel like I kind of found the holy grail of being able to sustain what it takes to go through a long season. Because, 3 out of the last 4 years, we've made it 14 weeks. 14 weeks with a high school kid being mentally into what they're a part of is tough to do. It's really tough.
Absolutely.
To do.
Hey, about 6 weeks can be pretty tough to, let alone 14 weeks.
Right. And I think really it's been like 13 out of the last 18 or something that we've been in that regional final. So we're talking weeks 13, 14 that, is long seasons for kids. But 2016, I figured out an in-season lifting and workout routine that really kept our guys on a path or a trajectory that we get in the early parts of the season. We're strong in June or July. And then that early part of the season, you got so many things. You got, your first week of hitting and your first week of this and your scrimmages, and you're just working all those things. And the guys you're starting school and you're just working through all that. So guys kind of falter a little bit or lose a little bit of strength in those early seasons. But then we continue that in-season training program, and we start to kind of bottom out a little bit. So we have that little bit of dip from being as high as you can be lifting wise and strength wise, and a little bit of a dip there early on. And then we kind of plateau, if you will. But when we get to this weeks where we're at now, 7, 8, 9, 10, we start a path going back up strength wise, and we surpass where we're at. I found in the method that we've been working through, we get better and we get stronger, and we get to weeks 12, 13, 14. We are stronger than we were even back at the beginning of the season. So trying to get kids to buy into that and continue with that, that's where we're at. And we're doing a good job in that weight room right now. I'm looking at 80% of our team is matching or beating their maxes that they had back in July, which is what our goal is. And we're going to continue to work that and continue to get better with that. And that helps us sustain that edge, that strength that we need in order to compete in these later parts of the year and conditioning wise, because the weather's going to turn. It's going to get a little cooler. But we just got to make sure that we have ourselves fundamentally sound. And our practices get a little bit shorter as we try to get a little be more efficient as we communicate with what it is we're trying to get an opponent to do, or recognize what an opponent can do and how we can nullify that, stop it. And we get a little more efficient with that all the time.
Yeah, it sounds like that, listening to you talk about that, it sounds like that is crucial for a team like you all that like you said, you're going to play, you're used to playing in week 13, week 14 for many, many years, and your kids being able to, as you described, be stronger at those times than maybe they are mid-season. I can't imagine how important that is to the program and keeping guys healthy, keeping them strong, and for them to feel strong as they get to those late parts of the season. That's good stuff, Coach.
Yeah, that's the key, and it's taken me a number of years to kind of figure out what works. But right now, I feel like we've got a good system going, and continue to work through that.
Hey, Coach. So what's on the schedule for next week?
Next week we got Waverly Tigers. We're home. It's homecoming for us. So they always pose a great fast offense that has a big play, the ability to score big, and as they come up to the ball and they're firing the ball down the field. And I haven't watched film on them this year, and I know they've had some moments that they've struggled. But they're a team that we're definitely going to respect and make sure we have our guys ready and come out and show our best at Ed Miller Stadium.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling in tonight, Coach, and hope you guys stay healthy here as you go forward.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Gilbert. Appreciate it.
You bet.
A lot of really good stuff there from Coach. Listen to him. It kind of just gives you some answers of why they're in week 14, week
Absolutely.
15 every single year. So.
Yep, when he kind of said there, he figured it out back in 2016. What's that, nine years ago that he figured it out 9 years ago, right? But so he's had this thing moving for quite a while. But and he probably described exactly why that is and what he talked about.
And anytime you're listening to coaches, it's all about systems. It's all about your system and having systems in place. And it sounds like Coach Woodward definitely has his system in place. So
absolutely.
We got one more coach here. I believe we got Coach Beeler from Huntington. Coach, you there?
Yep, I'm here. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
All doing good, man. Got the maple leaf back.
I was getting ready to say, sitting there on the couch, eating a
night.
pizza, waving the maple leaf in the air. So it's got to be a good evening in the township tonight.
Oh yeah, we got back to the field house, man. There's about 300 people waiting on us, so we're sitting out here enjoying our evening.
Yeah, it looked like offensively, and I guess defensively too, Coach. But offensively, you put 36 up tonight. Can you kind of recap offensively how that worked? Was it early on in the game, or was it kind of drawn out throughout the four quarters? Or how'd it go?
No, I think it was middle second quarter we came out and we got a score. So it was we had some penalties, some dumb stuff early. They played great defense and was really tough early on. So it ended up being 8-0 at half, and then most of our scores came in the third quarter. I think we scored 2 or 3 touchdowns, and then we scored maybe once in the fourth. Going late, but they came out. They played real good defense. We played great defense all night. I thought probably one of our better defensive games. But they came out and played us tough and made it a really tight game up until half. And I thought we made some adjustments, and our kids, they answered the call and played really well in the second half.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Coach. There, shutout, I believe tonight. So. Who really stepped up and played well for you on the defensive side tonight?
Joni Yates had 2 interceptions for us, which was huge. And then I felt like our goal was to get a lot of pressure on their quarterback and hold the edge and kind of keep them contained. And I thought Jackson and Carson McNeil really played well, and Isaac Taylor. But just as a group, our kids played good. And Frankie, we usually use him just to kind of put him over and shadow better receivers, and he's always a presence out there and does really well on defense.
So you kind of walked us through the scoring there. We've been talking a lot tonight just about the the point of the season we're in, the time of year it is, and those kind of things. Talk to us about a kid that's maybe kind of like turned the corner here for you over the past week or last week and this week, where you've kind of been waiting. You knew they were getting close, but they've kind of taken that step where they're kind of reaching the capability that you knew they had.
I would probably go Evan Thomas. He came out. I think he ran for 100 yards last week. Ran for 85 this week. Wasn't a running back early on. Was a receiver, and we've just had some injuries where we've had to shuffle people around. But he's a kid. I mean, defensively, offensively, it doesn't matter. He played nose guard. If I told him it helped the team out. So, but he stepped up. He runs really hard. Great senior. I've been coaching him since 8th grade, and him and Isaac Taylor are just kind of that 1-2 punch for us in the backfield, and O-line obviously moving people always makes a big difference. So, and they were tonight. So.
Coach, I'm sitting here, as we speak, and I'm kind of looking at some of these computer points. I noticed going into tonight, I think you guys are sitting there at 14 in your region. Obviously, this year it's only dwindled down to 12 instead of 16. But is that something you, as a coaching staff, I'm sure. Your players, you don't want to sit there and harp on that, talking about computer points, but that is something now where you guys start to kind of look at things and look at possibilities in that.
Yeah, I think it's always something fun to do on a Saturday or Sunday. But I mean, the reality of it is you take one game at a time, and we gotta be 1-0 every week, and we'll be in the playoffs. But we know the numbers and what we need to do to get there. We don't throw it all on the kids, but at the end of the day, you got to come out, you got to make a good game plan. We got kids, we played a couple really good teams tight. We got to get that signature win where we can get some secondary points, and that'll kind of put us over the edge. So but our kids, won 2 in a row back to back, and we're excited to bring Westfall here for homecoming, and excited for the challenge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, Coach. I know you had Westfall next week. It sounds like they're coming to you. Homecoming, you just mentioned as well. So we know that's just a big week in general. So enjoy this tonight, and I have no doubt that it's back to work tomorrow, right?
Yep, absolutely. We'll be game planning and scheming and getting ready to roll. So appreciate you guys.
Yep. Thanks for calling in tonight, Coach.
Yep. Have a good night. See you guys.
I think listen to Coach Beeler there. Obviously they're sitting there right now at 4-3. Above 500. Early in the year we had that Eastern Huntington game that was a classic. But obviously Coach Beeler's doing a great job right there. They're on the cusp of right around that playoff thing. And like he said, he probably made a great point when he said, the main thing is if we win each game, then we'll end up being in. So. I just can't say enough about the season that the Huntsmen are having this year.
Yeah, it's like we talked about that night. We said this might be something that they look back on and see as a real positive thing moving forward. And yeah, like he described, you go 1-0 next week, you're going to be in an even better spot, and do that 1 or 2 more times, probably going to be in a real good spot.
Right.
So
you're right. You're right.
Focus on what you got coming up and go from there.
So I think we're on a roll tonight. We're not even going to go to commercial. We got another coach on the line. I believe we got Coach Crabtree from Waverly. Coach, you out there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how's everything going tonight? I know so far this season, probably not what you really look for, but looked like tonight it kind of all came together for you guys.
Yeah, definitely been a tough road for us. A little bit of challenging year, and trying to find that first win, and ultimately, we were able to kind of put a lot of things together. Been dealing with a lot of injuries and a lot of things of that nature, but kids have still been working, coaches have been preparing, and it all came together.
Yeah. So big one tonight, but a common theme we're hearing tonight, Coach, is injuries, kind of everywhere. It's just kind of, we've talked about the time of year it is, week 8, and all that kind of stuff. So who's some guys that you just kind of had to throw into some spots that maybe they're not used to being in, but you threw them in there? And
Yeah, for the last couple of weeks, basically, we've had to play a kid at quarterback that has not played quarterback, and Brian Barch, who's done a really phenomenal job for us on such a short notice. He played last week, and unfortunately, we just had a lot of bad snaps and kind of put ourselves in bad situations and come up short last week, and then ultimately, had a little time, a little more preparation on some things, and so, he ended up rushing for like 150 yards tonight. Probably been a long time. Waverly's only thrown the ball 2 times, but we did a little bit, but we didn't kind of have to throw it too much. So, anyways, we've had kid play quarterback. It's not normally play quarterback. We've had some kids have to step up and play linebacker that haven't played, and the really offensive line's kind of been a revolving door at different points this year. So, it's unfortunate, but sometimes you have that, and ultimately you just gotta you gotta deal with the cards that's handed to you, and we've ultimately, my staff and the players, we work really hard and try to continue to game plan and get better each week, and ultimately we've kind of been our own worst enemy at times too this year. So sometimes when you have players playing different positions, that happens. But this was definitely a good step forward for us, a good positive week, and something to build on.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about your scoring tonight. How'd that go for you guys?
Yeah, we I'm just lucky enough to have all my stats in front of me right here, but we ended up scoring 14 in the first quarter. Again, primarily, pretty much just kind of, all those were all primarily runs. Barch pretty much at the quarterback spot. Kind of just let him run the football a little bit. Jaden Poling ultimately was our running back too. Really, who's a kid that hasn't played running back for us either much. So he did a great job, kind of just getting the ball down, driving down the field, and setting those scores up. And then we scored 13 and a half, or in the second quarter, and then the third quarter pretty much a scoreless situation. And then we scored 14. And again, a couple of those were set up by Nelson had a big interception that he ran back, got down within the 10-yard line. And so really we had a block punt tonight, or blocked a punt tonight. So special teams, we had some really good things going on. We had several, we got several turnovers on our side. And then, obviously just being able to run the football and kind of control the clock a little bit, and put some points on the board, which we haven't done a great job of this year.
Well, like you said, Coach, you definitely put some points on the board tonight with 41. And if I'm correct here, next week you guys head south to Wheelersburg. Is that correct?
Yeah, and again, obviously, really good football team, and really for us going forward, we just got to go compete, be healthy, and then be looking at the next couple of weeks, see what we can do. Obviously you don't ever want to look at a game like we just know going into that game we have to play some really good football, and ultimately for us at this point in our season and kind of where we're at record wise, we just know that our goal is to go out and compete and just get better, and then that's going to set it up for the next 2 weeks and try to go out and get wins in the season on a positive note.
Yeah, it sounds like your kids are battling. They're still out there competing and playing hard. That's all you can ask, regardless of how things are going. And a great time to get a big one tonight going into next week, I think.
Yeah, and ultimately we're going to get some people back probably in the next couple of weeks, which definitely will help. Again, ultimately, as I'm sure many people are this time of year, our depth wasn't great in the first place because our numbers are probably a little bit down. So when you start having those key injuries, you get guys really young starting to play, and ultimately it can be good. Yeah, sometimes it's not the best case. Yeah, we are sure get some guys back here in the next couple of weeks as they heal up and things like that. So that'll be a positive as well.
Sounds good, Coach. Thanks for calling in tonight, and hope you guys do get healthy. And we'll see what happens next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Uh-huh.
I think we've got not another coach yet, but Speaking of the Waverly, obviously, Coach Crabtree's been doing this for a while. And typically year in, year out, Waverly's a team who, is a pretty successful football program. And obviously this year, like he said, injuries, numbers are a little bit lower. And it's very easy. You're sitting there at 0-6 going into this week. A tough loss to Oak Hill. Probably could have packed it in, but it sounds like the kids are just, still battling to come out and good for them to get a league win here against Medford.
Yep, I think the ability to do that shows kind of the grit that he's probably instilled in the program over the years. Kids are still believing, still going out and still focused and just trying to get better each week. And when you do that, good things happen to you. And that's what happened tonight. So.
And I do think we have another coach on the line here, Coach Carper from Chillicothe. You out there, Coach?
Yes, sir. How are you guys doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Awesome. Happy tonight.
There you go. Sounds like a pretty exciting game score-wise. I think 34-29. You guys take the victory over Courthouse tonight. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a hard-fought game, man, and but sometimes you gotta grind out a game like that. You gotta win a game in that type of fashion for you to grow. So I'm excited for the kids, man. I'm excited for the program. I'm excited for the community. I think it's been 3 years since they beat Courthouse. So, it's a good night to be a Cavalier.
Yeah, like you said, Coach, sometimes you got to grind one out. And once you've done that a few times, your kids kind of get that mindset of we've been here and we've done this.
Yeah.
Yes,
this
is what we do. And
yes, sir.
34 tonight. Walk us through, some of your offense or some of your scoring, anyways.
Well, man, we started off kind of sluggish. Like penalties, man. Each week we talk about the penalties and just mental mistakes and stuff like that. That kind of that held us back. But man, we scored twice in the first half of Carte on a couple runs and then we had a couple big passes in the second half, with Tay to Carter and some screens that we took to the house. But it was a hard fought game, man. It was a defensive battle really until the end. We had to have a goal line stand to win it. So literally a goal line stand to win it, man. They're on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
And we grinded it out that way, but defense, I felt like at times we played great. At times, we didn't. Just mental mistakes, tiny mistakes that can get you beat. In the end, man, if you're not doing the right things, So, but fortunately for us, we kind of bounced back and played with a lot of confidence later on in the game. That's what took us to the end.
Coach, we've had several coaches on tonight, and here we are 3/4 of the way through the regular season. It's been very common tonight to hear coaches talk about, injuries and other kids having to step up and things like that. And obviously,
yes, sir.
Obviously you guys had a pretty key injury early in the year to your quarterback, which you had to shuffle some things around,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yep. So as far as injuries, like right now, you got some kids starting to get back, ready to get back into things, or how's that looking for you guys?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We're looking to get Andrew Hammond back. He's itching to get back and to get started. He was clear this week, so he's still under protocol this week just to get him back full speed for next week. Milton Beverly is another one. He's out with a hammy all year, man. Like, I feel so bad for him because he worked so hard. You know what I mean? And he pulled his hammy 2 times. And I'm excited to get him back this coming up week. He played some special teams for us today, but I'm looking forward to getting him involved on our defensive side, man. But we lift weights throughout the season, and we do about 2. We lift 2 days a week, and I credit that. Just some of the injuries that we've had that we don't really see. And I don't want to knock. I want to knock on wood. I don't want to jinx us, but weight room's been big for us, and that's a mentality, and that's something that we got to continue to do and grind as we go forward throughout the later part of the season. You don't really notice it much in the beginning, but you start to notice that weight room towards the latter part of the year. Kids aren't getting hurt. Kids aren't getting, wore down. So we're going to continue to do that. We're going to make that a priority. So
Hey, let me just ask you, kind of like on that topic there, Coach. Like, this is just just a personal question. Like as far as like that, you're talking about your kids in the weight room twice a week. Do you also feel not only physically but mentally that is a big piece of things too? That like they know they're in there working.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, it's work. It's work, and that is the true definition of work. You got to go in, you got to grind, you got to go in and do your job to get better. So, and I put them on a whistle, man. We break it down. We got goals that we break it down to. And their time. So there is no lacking. There's no slacking off. It's just another work day for us. It's a routine, as Coach Miller would say. We're routine. We're going about our business, and that's just part of it, man. So it kind of locks them in mentally. It's like, well, if I can come out here and I can work out and I can lift weights, we did it all off season. The expectations are I gotta grind. So we take what we are going to do in the weight room, and we got to apply it out on the field. If you can't do that, if you can't take what you've done from January to pretty much January again, and apply it in the games, or on the field, then, something's wrong. So we take that mentality with us, man. We're going to work, and we call it, we're built at Chili built, man. And it's just a mentality in that weight room, dude, that I love. And
We've heard a little bit about this tonight, and the mentality part that Jeff just asked you about, and you kind of hit on there. I think is a big piece of it, and just the guy, the way they feel when you're feeling strong in week 9, week 10. I think that's got to be a huge benefit going out there in those weeks, having been through it the past couple months.
Yes, sir.
You guys are just going to continue here. I think you got Hillsborough next week. Is that right?
Yeah, we got Hillsborough, man. It's going to be a good game. They run triple option, so we got to be disciplined with what we do, tackle our assignments on defense, offense. We just got to play with a lot of effort, limit the penalties, and roll. So
I guess
I'm excited.
I can't leave you go yet, Coach. Do you happen to have any individual stats tonight? Any standouts?
I don't, but I will say, of course, Carte is going to do his job, man. He was great all night, but Carter Williams stepped up for us in a big time way. He took 2 passes to the house for us tonight, I believe. Was it 2, Jordan? One got called back. One was called back, of course.
Gotcha.
But big plays, man. Just huge. And and I didn't know this until our OC called it. But just the what's the word I'm looking for? The football IQ of that kid is huge. So we called a reverse, and our linemen, they're not getting downfield, they're reaching. So they're reaching. And Carter, he knew he was going to get tackled on the reverse. And Jeremy Kane's supposed to run a run-off block. So Jeremy runs off, and the corner leaves Jeremy. Carter's getting tackled, or going to get tackled. He throws it to Jeremy, and we score. So, just a heads-up play. And sometimes I'll talk about this with our coaches, football 101, and you don't want robots. You do want robots, but you don't want robots. You want guys that are going to go and make plays. You want dudes that are going to be dudes sometimes. And that was a dude play, and I told him, I said, don't get accustomed to doing it. But, tonight it definitely helped us, man. So we'll ride with it. We'll live with it.
Coach, that's one of those ones you take credit for. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I give credit to Coach Belt on that one.
There you go. Someone's got to get some credit for that. You know what I mean? So
right. I didn't even know that was in the playbook. He's like, it's not.
Good stuff. Well,
oh man.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the call. Congratulations on a nice win here in the FAC, and like Nick said, you guys got Hillsborough next week, another tough opponent, and we'll look forward to hearing from you then.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, man. Go Cavs.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Well, we're going to take a short break here and come back. We'll go through some scores on the North Fork Animal Clinic scoreboard and kind of wrap up this evening.
Are you looking for the best deals on quality used trucks and cars?
Great news, Chillicothe Truck has what you're looking for.
Choose from a wide selection of makes and models. All vehicles undergo a detailed multi-point inspection and extensive reconditioning before hitting the lot. Our friendly team offers a no-pressure sales experience, ensuring you find the perfect vehicle to fit your needs. Plus, you can customize your ride with our extensive range of truck accessories, from bed covers to lift kits. Stop by 173 Rennick Avenue in Chillicothe or call us today at 740-773-8782 to get started right now.
Glo Fiber is now in Ohio. And with gig speed fiber internet, we're keeping things real. As in real, reliable speeds. Real people who really want to talk to you. Not to mention, real simple pricing. Switch to Glo Fiber today to get real fast, real reliable fiber internet and your first month free. Glo Fiber is here. Welcome to Glo Ohio. Call 1-833-WANT-GLO or visit glofiber.com to switch today.
Total Healthcare Coaches Call-In Show. One thing we haven't got to tonight is we've talked to coaches about some specific games and scores, but now is probably a good opportunity to run through the North Fork Animal Clinic scores. Nick, I'll let you go ahead and hit through these scores here.
All right, let's see what we got here. We got Chillicothe 34, Washington 29, Miami Trace 49, Hillsborough 6, Jackson winners tonight 48-6 over McLean. Unioto 19, Zane Trace 0. Westfall winners 28-14 over Adena. Huntington 36, Paint Valley 0 tonight. Piketon 35, Southeastern 0. West 44, Valley 20. Wheelersburg 52, Oak Hill 8. Waverly 41, Memphis 7. Northwest 43, Benton County 22. Eastern 40, Sims Valley 6. Notre Dame winners 70-0 over Green. Manchester 58, Federal Hawking 28. Fairfield Union 41, Liberty Union 0. Hamilton Township 49, Circleville 35. Amanda-Clearcreek 35-7 over Lucas. Athens 53, Meigs 0. Nelsonville York 55, Wellston 0. Alexander 26, River Valley 6. Trimble 44, Belpre 0. Portsmouth 48, Fairland 26. Coalgrove winners 40-26 over Kip out of Columbus. And South Point 41, Chesapeake 18.
Yeah, a lot of solid games across their area tonight, and you oftentimes when you get this late in the year, it's you'll see some of these games 1 or 2 point or 1 or 2 possession games. Teams battling for league titles, teams battling for playoff positioning, and I think you're going to see that again here in the next couple weeks. Some really battles within our area.
Yep, kind of what you just said. It's the time of year it is. I mean, not that every game doesn't matter back in week 1, but when you get to this point, it's truly getting down to the wire of every game's going to matter and every win's going to matter. And so I think you're going to see things probably continue to tighten up here over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and so we want to thank all the coaches that called in tonight. This week, we haven't really announced what our streaming games are going to be, but obviously, pay attention. That announcement will come probably throughout the week this week. And other than that, anything else you got tonight, Nick?
No. I think we ran through it kind of just like you said on a roll there.
We got on a roll tonight. Just got going and it was nonstop. So
yeah.
Again, for Jeff Miller, Nick Barrows, and Christian Spradlin, thank you. Tomorrow, you might be able to catch this. Again, if you didn't catch it tonight, we'll have it out on the website tomorrow. So appreciate it and have a good evening.